quote from the Farage when he was describing about the Papocho Pocho. So I want to welcome one last person who will be for the tea time, who is going to talk about the prospect of biomedical science in East African region integration. I know he's going to just stimulate discussion. It's going to be a discussion. So I'd like to welcome Professor Moshi, and who will come and speak and stimulate discussion on the prospect of biomedical service in the East African region integration. Karibu, Professor Moshi. I know it's one of the pioneers in this field, especially in my university, I know. So he knows much about it. Karibu, sir.
Yeah, distinguished international guests, professors, and all our delegates, good morning. Yeah, I'm actually sitting in or standing in for Professor Mashala, the Vice Chancellor for Harvard Kairuki Memorial University, who was supposed to actually talk. In most cases, you also have, so not in most cases, I don't know, not generalize it, but you have people who do not belong to the core professions in medicine, in dentistry. And this has been a challenge. It has been a challenge because if you are just a scientist doing physiology, for example, and you graduate and your GPA is not good, you do not qualify to be an academic staff. And you are in Africa where there is no industry. Where are we going to take it? That becomes a big challenge. That becomes a disincentive because you don't have a career path. That is a big challenge. But again, also, sir, even if you were a clinician, what about remuneration? With remuneration, in the basic sciences, you just go away with your salary, especially in this place, if you don't have a research grant. If you don't have research grant, it means you only have your salary, and that is quite a disincentive. And I know so because I have been in this. I did my PhD, came back home, and for a while, you don't have a research grant. So you struggle a lot. And especially when you have senior people in the department who have also been in the same trend and have not created grants. And so, how are you going to pick up as a fresh graduate so that you can get into the track of generating research grants, generating funds, so that it becomes exciting, right, to be building career in that area. So consequently, this has created a problem of inadequate human resource in this region. The biomedical departments are not that much staffed, and has been, and I know there have been improvements recently as opportunities for international collaboration have been coming in, people getting training grants, people getting collaborative projects. This has helped a lot. The other area that has been suffering a lot historically is the area of equipment, even teaching equipment, right? I did pharmacology when we had the MD transducers for pharmacology, but when we again use small big drums to do tracing for contraction of the ileum, the rabbit ileum, to do all these trainings for the experiments in pharmacology. Remember the problem of smoking with benzene and the potential problem of contracting cancers. And indeed, this, unfortunately, our Department of Clinical Pharmacology still has these broken, now they're broken MD recorders with those faces, they don't work anymore. We try to use smoking drugs with them. Once I tried some of these experiments and then go back to the rubber tubings, go back to the chemicals which were bought in the 80s, early 90s. Imagine they're all expired. You try something, and they don't work. They no longer have activity. So these are the kind of problems, but again also lack of guidelines on resources, human resources in particular. What kind of guidelines in terms of human resource development in this area do we have? Not really much, but also lack of centers of excellence in this area of biomedical sciences, different areas. The areas of microbiology and immunology benefited a lot from HIV/AIDS. A lot of research from mid-1980s, all along to this time, a lot of research money has gone in, a lot of capacity building has taken place in HIV research, microbiology and immunology, virology. Great capacity has developed in that area. But not every area. If you are doing drug discovery, I happen to my area is drug discovery, mainly dealing in chemotherapeutic agents, cancer, HIV, antimicrobial, antimicrobacterial substances. Yes, this area it's not that easy, has been difficult. You really need to persevere a lot to be able to grow a strong person. You can't be a professor, yes, how strong are you? Starting from one area of publication to another, that doesn't make you a strong person in any specific area. So, how do we move with biomedical sciences in the East African region in terms of integration? The Inter-University Council of East Africa has done a lot of good work in terms of harmonizing curricula. They have been harmonizing curricula, developing different guidelines in medicine, in fact, guidelines for all universities in different aspects. I see this as an opportunity. I see this as an opportunity to develop harmonization programs for the biomedical sciences subjects, develop harmonized curricula in this area, right? And with harmonized curricula, what opportunities does that provide? One, we are able to exchange faculty across institutions. We are able to share teaching staff, but again also that is a very good background for collaborative activities. Right. If we could build collaborative teams, and again these professional societies, I'm impressed by the IUPS, which is a great opportunity for linkage of people in physiology specifically to international colleagues for collaboration. But in terms of grants, because you don't just get money to buy the equipment if you don't have a grant. What is the delivery at the end of the day? Right, so that is an opportunity which I see will develop into research grants, and I will advocate that a lot. If IUPS is going to support this region and support integration of biomedical sciences in the East African region, we need grants, we need collaborative projects so that we can build capacity, one for teaching, because if you don't have equipment, how do you teach skills in the biomedical sciences? Because you don't just move on to clinical practice. You need to develop skills in the laboratory. In the past, we would have, for example, pharmacokinetics, where we had an experiment, a pump where we would pump a dye and we would be measuring what is trickling out from the reservoir, we will be measuring concentrations. Simple guidance, they are not there. The histamine experiment for inflammation, right? Heel flare and edema. Histamine, do you buy it from the shop? How is it not? Is it not standardized? That's not the way to teach medical students. So you can see the kind of challenges that we have, but they are not insurmountable. Initiatives like having these conferences bring people together, but also do mentorship programs. We need to develop strong mentorship programs that support graduates, make sure that those who graduate with a PhD, they have linkages for postdoc training. That is a major weakness that we have in this region. You graduate with a PhD, that is not enough to propel you into a powerful research. So it's a miracle for people to become full professors without postdoc training. How do you grow? So these international collaborations provide great opportunities for postdoc training, but mentorship also starts lower. We can start sending students, even at undergraduate level, to other institutions within the East African region and outside the East African region to start making linkages, particularly those we identified to be good material that may be eventually recruited as academic staff. Staff exchange programs, I think I've talked about that, and I think having said that, and because unfortunately I didn't really prepare for a presentation, but from my experience, that's the little that I could present. But for the benefit of this topic, and for the benefit of the East African region, I would like us now to share discussions, contribute to the full ideas that I have presented, so that eventually the rapporteurs can be for the input into this area. And when people go into working groups in the East African region, then they have something that is well cooked, that can be used to create support for building integration. Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know how much. Well, we don't have a lot of time remaining, isn't it? Yeah, so let me welcome a few people become an MC myself. And then welcome colleagues to contribute to my small presentation and see what more ideas we can bring out for the rapporteurs to bring down any benefit to this important topic for the region. But let me also say something, that one small point that I would like to add. The separation between clinical practice and biomedical sciences, and then we claim that we are doing evidence-based medicine is a fallacy. I think we also need to create basic sciences units in every clinical department, right? And these, basic science units in the clinical departments to also become part of teaching of basic sciences. And in this way, we are going to be able to rapidly build a platform for integration of basic sciences into clinical practice. Because some people will practice for years and you don't have new knowledge. How do you advance? So thank you very much. I think let me invite one of any person would like to contribute, please, and support my, yes, please, thank you.
Allow me to walk here. I don't know where Professor. Oh, there is a Professor Susan. I start with Professor Susan. Allow me to start with congratulating all of you, Professor Moshi, Professor Susan, and Professor Samit. Samit. I think they were the presenters in the morning. That are really entertainers, and Professor Moshi has summarized it very well. Okay, thank you. Now, I was given a qualification here by the presenters in the morning, the professor from Manhattan University, and she gave me a title and she said, I am Museum of Physiology. So I'll shake her hand and tell her I will be describing myself in my business card as MOP, Museum of Physiology. So I also request we take a picture with you, specifically Professor Moshi. And the reason why I will do that, I'm from Kenya, and I went to school with Professor Isaac Beche. And he looks exactly so. I'll take a picture with you. If you are not aware, you have a brother, you have a perfect identical brother. Let me tell you, physiology is amazing. I know you are doing biological sciences, but there's no contradiction. There's no contradiction. I simply say physiology is about life. Yes. And everything falls in there. So and that's why we talk about insect physiology, plant physiology, everything is physiology. So physiology is life. So there's no contradiction because those are core medical courses that we respect each and every one of them. You know, so there is no contradiction whatsoever. Okay? You take that picture and I'm going to invite you, if you are free, if you have no work, I understand you are retired like myself, so you can go accordingly to my role. Yes? And I take you to PC. Now, I will not take much time. A summary here. In and the Kenyans that we are here, you are the witnesses. In our country, we had an education system that was called 7423 in 1963. Okay. Then in 1985, we went through a transition after making a lot of noise. You know, Kenyans, we make a lot of noise. So, and then we changed. We changed from 7423 to 844. We never stopped making noise. We now went through it and we started making a lot of noise. When we make noise, our politicians, they understand some physiology because they listen to Kenyans. So, and what they did is, this debate has been going on, but we started getting it to be implemented. And now, here is a summary, my friends, because in my country, Kenya, we are now implementing competence-based curriculum. It is already, it's not being debated, it is being implemented by the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. I went there to meet them because I said, I'm so happy that God has kept me alive to actually see the transition taking place in my country. So now, what am I going to do? All what has been presented here is a contradiction, Professor Susan and Professor Suba. There is a contradiction. Why? You said that a mentor is like a tattoo. Finish the rest. That stays with you for? And they contradicting themselves because they are talking of IUPN being involved in Africa, and after 2 years, they don't quite believe, they want to see what will be happening after 2 years, and then after that they keep on monitoring and evaluating it. What we are telling you from Africa, when you start this, we want to stay with this mentorship forever. Absolutely. Absolutely, forever. And when I read you this, these Kenyans that have actually put these points here, they have done, our government funded them, and they have actually they engaged in global benchmarking. They went to the Americas of this world, to Europe, New Zealand, they did not spare any capital. So therefore, we are very excited, Kenyans. We are very excited because of what is coming. A child that is aiming to become a doctor, a pharmacist, a dentist, an architect, a lawyer, will be identified very early by the competence-based curriculum. And that is so exciting, and that is why in Africa, or starting with Kenya, we shall start producing these children that will be second to none in the world. Believe it or not, listen now. I want you to listen to this museum of physiology. Now, the previous systems, I'm just reading what is here. The previous systems, the previous education systems, they became too academic and examination oriented, leading to 3 key problems. If you are from my beautiful country, Kenya, we have a cancer. The cancer is called the cancer of cheating in examinations. It is real. And I have spent my 40 years in Nairobi University fighting that disease. Now, very contagious. Now, here we go. Disconnect. There are 3 disconnects with these previous 2 systems of education. Which are these disconnect? I will take you through disconnect, number 1. Listen very carefully. Between curriculum content, there's a disconnect between curriculum content and the world of work. Youth unemployment is on the increase. Many learners exit school without skills for work and skills for life. And skills for life. Let's stop at that point and tell you. In my home country, it pains me greatly because there are more than 5,000 doctors that cannot be employed, qualified after spending 6 years in the university. Is that true, dear Kenyans? I'm not hearing you. Am I telling a lie? I am telling you a physiological truth. A pathophysiological truth. Now, then let's go to disconnect number 2. Disconnect number 2. In realizing the national goals of education, which emphasizes core values and the principles like nationalism, social equality, and responsibility. That is disconnect number 2. We go to disconnect number 3. Disconnect number 3 with the needs of the 21st century, which is a knowledge and skill age, that demands new way of thinking, new way of being imaginative, innovative, and saying we can do it all, and we are going to be second to none. Now here we come. Paying attention to disconnect 1, disconnect 2, and disconnect 3, listen now to the new curriculum that we are implementing with our children starting in the kindergarten. Here we go. Now, competence-based curriculum, competence approach. Here we go. In response to the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and to achieve Vision 2030, the SDG and implement the East African Community Protocols, we need to transform our education system in 3 ways. 3 ways, here they are. Competencies, and therefore, Professor Susan, with IPUS, AAPS, and now with the East African Society of Physiological Sciences, we need centers of excellence. And I can tell you, in my country, Kenya, there are hospitals that are so well equipped, including Aga Khan, where Professor Sumat is, and they are very well equipped. And therefore, we need to make sure that as we are actually emphasizing on physiology as education, it's a hands-on science, and it needs to actually be well grounded. And that's what can happen in every country in Africa. So here we go. So I've told you about now the need for competence. Now the next thing is, and I want to read this once again, competencies. Kenya's economy is changing very fast. We need to prepare learners for new possibilities. The second century demands transferable skills and soft skills, and the competence-based curriculum approach seeks to produce a learner with the competencies to thrive now and in an increasingly changing world. You don't want to produce a learner that will be seeking employment. You want to produce a learner that the market there will be hunting and looking for that child, for that young, beneficiary. Now, character. The new CBC curriculum, competence-based curriculum, is addressing the character. Here we go. Education needs to mold all learners with the values to uphold the peace and national unity across the country. Value-based education and parental empowerment and engagement are core pillars in the new curriculum. The competency approach seeks to produce a learner who has character, a global character. You are producing professionals, not for Africa, but for the world. Okay, now, the third point is creativity. Listen to this. Our competence-based curriculum in Kenya, which is being implemented, it is addressing the issue of creativity. That's the work of one of our system. Creativity. So, and therefore, the 21st century is a society in which knowledge and ideas are a key source of economic growth. Education needs to produce citizens who are willing to think differently, be creative, and try out new ideas to solve challenges. Innovativeness, imaginations. You cannot set a limit for that. The sky is not even the limit for what we are talking about. And what we are saying is this, as I conclude, we have facilities, and all they need is they become centers of the mentorship program that we're actually talking about. And as I conclude, let me share this, and what I'm going to share with you, it is real. And with the Professor Sulemat, I'm going to work with her, we actually find out the truth. I was blessed with one daughter, and I'm saying I was blessed with one daughter. Yeah, 1 minute is enough with one daughter because my wife passed on, and now that daughter discovered a man. She took her time and found a man. The man is a civil engineer. And when he got married, I got a brother-in-law, okay? So then, in African context, isn't it? Yeah. Aha, now this brother-in-law, he has had minor strokes in his right, and he eventually got a major one and went down. He went to ICU in Aga Khan University. When he went there, the neurologists surrounding him, they were monitoring electrical activity in the brain because he was on a cocktail of anti-epileptics, and they wanted to monitor the electrical activity throughout the night. There is only one Kenyan, only one Kenyan that we are going to look for, because we spent time in ICU because that Kenyan was not available. He is the only one who could actually use the equipment to monitor electrical activity 24 hours. One Kenyan. And you know our population? We are approaching 60 million. And there's only one physiologist in a population of 60 million that can actually take your patients in ICU where you need to monitor the electrical activity. What does that mean? What I have told you, we are now celebrating because I just received a video because he is now at home and he is receiving nursing and physiotherapy in his home. So, therefore, there are many gaps, and therefore, in this case, there is a lot that we can do with the facilities that are available, and therefore, let's make sure that the mentorship program does remain with us in Africa forever.
Thank you so much. We have somebody online who wants to contribute. Frank is online. Please, can you put it so that we can hear his contribution?
Good morning, everybody. I'm showing my face for you to see me and know who is talking. My name is Frank Mojinili, and I'm at the University of Namibia. So I will put off the video and then I'll continue. I want to thank you all for giving me this opportunity to speak. I also want to thank the ESPS organizers for this forum, this mentoring forum, which I think is really needful, and I think it will also go to address a problem, that is persistent across Africa. So thank you so much for this great idea. I just want to quickly say that there is a big gap for physiology training across the world, but particularly in Africa. Most of the people that are in physiology in Africa come from medical backgrounds. That is, they did physiology in medical school, graduated as medical doctors, and then went on to continue their career in physiology because of the passion or love for physiology that they got during their training as undergraduate medical students, which I think is excellent. And then also, we have people too from other backgrounds, perhaps people that are direct pharmacy or medical laboratory sciences, that went on to continue their career in physiology. And I think the reason is probably because they fell in love with physiology, which was part of their undergraduate training program, which is great. But the big gap is that for many African countries, there is no BSc physiology program. There is no undergraduate program, that is there to produce BSc physiologists. And I think this is a big gap that needs to be addressed. Of course, the question that most people quickly ask, which I think is consistent, is, after producing them, where do they work? Well, I think several years ago in the 70s, I think, in the 60s, when the then provost of the College of Medicine, University of Lagos, decided to start a BSc program in physiology. No, not the provost, the head of the department of physiology, when he decided to start a BSc program in physiology. This was the same question that he was asked, that where are they going to work? And the answer he gave them was, I am going to train them in such a way that wherever they ultimately do work, wherever they work, ultimately, they will be the best people in whatever they did or they do. So, and that was how the BSc program in physiology started at the University of Lagos. Of course, the BSc program in physiology was predated by the BSc program in physiology at the premier university in Nigeria, which is the University of Ibadan. As we speak, people from these programs are maybe all over the world now helping to train other physiologists. So I'd like to really emphasize the need to address this gap across Africa. And please, I'd like to also quickly state that I am not in any way saying that medical doctors, pharmacists, medical laboratory scientists, dentists, and others who have a passion for physiology and who are teaching physiology and who are physiologists, by training, I'm not saying that they should not be there. No, the place is big for everybody. But I'm only emphasizing that there is a gap, across Africa that needs to be addressed. And that gap is that we have very, very few schools that are offering the BSc program in physiology. And I think we need to begin to address that. Then secondly too, I want to thank Prof. Alagbosi for his proactive attitude in coming up, of course with his team, he didn't do it alone, coming up with the PhysioCafon program, that is the curriculum for physiology for schools across Africa. I think this is very, very commendable. And
attachment, which in this case, could be hospital attachment or research lab attachment along the way as part of their curriculum before they graduate. So I think those are some of the basic things I've noticed in East Africa in the short time I've traveled here. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ann. I think that we will be the one winding up this session so that we can go for tea now. I would like to request you that we take at least just 20 minutes for tea. So we come back here around 10:20. But before tea, there's someone who has just one short announcement. 1 minute, Professor Esot. Please, just 1 minute announcement, and then we go for tea. Just try to make it 20 minutes and come back here, please.